So initially, when I first came to AmCon 2019, I did not know anything about either Mirrus or the restaurant industry. It was my first assignment with Ruby Slipper, and we started with just our integration of Toast for simple, sales, labor. But that's really expanded over the years. We've integrated our invoicing system, our inventory system, our scheduling system. It's really given us a lot of insight into ideal labor and labor forecasting, given us some really easy tools to dial up declining budgets and help keep operators on track to spend a certain percentage of their net sales. When I started with Ruby Slipper, we didn't have an inventory system, and that was something we implemented in the last couple of years. And then as soon as we had our implementation finished, we brought it over to Mirrus so we could stack that data on top of our labor data, our sales data, our invoice data. So a lot of back office systems have very clunky reporting that looks visually good for like an operator or somebody who's just pulling up a PDF on their phone or computer. But if you really want to get into the nuts and bolts of the data, it can be a little more difficult to work with. And also just the ability to have like kind of a one-stop shop for everything. It's almost muscle memory now. It's like, somebody requests a report or analytics, and the first thing you do, my arm just kind of naturally moves to my Mirrus bookmark, and that's great. It's really efficient for me because it's not dealing with disparate systems. I know I have similar location names, and that the location names are already mapped for me, and I don't have to remap in between two systems. I know I can interchangeably work with other integrations, like our invoice software is integrated into our inventory software, and then I can just pull both of those together inside of Mirrus and stack whatever other additional information I want on top of that. My presentation was a little bit about how you can look at the changes in food costs between two periods, or if you're a multi-unit operator, to similar volume units. How do I identify inefficiencies in waste, or where you might be losing cost due to mix, and just also where pricing might be different due to different regions, different availability for your food provider. Especially in the past couple of years that have been affected by inflation and the avian flu, we've gotten some good real-time data and real-time reporting to help identify where our issues are. One of the big ways is it suggests operational changes. We do a very high liquor percentage mix. And so one of the things we identified was that we needed to upsell more at the start, and that could be a driver not only to top line, but also to help bring our cost of food down, just because those alcoholic drinks are so much cheaper food cost. So that gave us the insight as to, hey, we need to make these changes, we need to change how we think about our operations. It's not just something that we need to do on the back end in purchasing, it's something that we need to get out ahead of, really get into the restaurants and just enact something new. A lot of good tips for auto push reports you can send out, which is one of my favorite features. We have probably 6 or 7 different reports that we've duplicated for every location. We filter down to the location, and we set up an alert schedule so that right after they finish their inventory, that check to make sure everything was picked up or everything was appropriately counted immediately goes to the location, and we can catch things in real time before opening business the next day. You got some of the best and the brightest here, some really big names in the restaurant industry, and it's a great place to kind of just exchange ideas. The sky's really the limit with what you can think about in terms of efficiencies and reporting out of Mirrus, and it's a great value add to our business to be able to come here, identify new things that we might be able to implement, whether it's Adrian's presentation about the labor grid and labor reporting against itself. Instead of taking it out of the absolute, I message my boss instantly. I will probably start building out something like this as soon as I get back. So
that's awesome.
It's a great place just to really get good ideas about what else you could be doing that maybe you haven't implemented yet. It's got everything. I So when I first started, I learned quite a lot, being brand new to Mirrors, and that was a lot of the integrations and maybe more reliance on Jason's presentation on how to set up my systems, how to think about how I want to do certain integrations. But now I feel like I have a really good base under my feet about how to use the platform, and now we can really get into the weeds on some very creative uses of the software, and it's great. You get to meet people from all over the country who do the same thing you do, maybe with just a little bit different twist to their title. Swap experiences, swap ideas, swap reporting. You can walk away with some really, really good additions to it.